The Supernatural Sleuths. I'm part of a paranormal investigation team called the Supernatural Sleuths. We're still pretty new in the field, with only a handful of investigations under our belt. Our last one? Well, it could be classified as either a success or a failure, depending on how you look at it. We all ended up passing out, none of us remembered a thing, and every piece of equipment mysteriously failed. No footage, no evidence, nothing for the website. The client was happy enough, but we lost our new member after that. What was his name again? I can't seem to recall. The team now consists of James, our fearless leader, Paul, our researcher and go-to guy for all things obscure, Charles, the tech wizard, and me, the spiritual medium. This week, we're headed to a small town in Wisconsin to investigate the infamous Carter murder farmhouse. For some reason, this case really caught my attention, a nagging pull I couldn't shake. It took some convincing, but I managed to get the team on board. Paul's been going on about how this place was once owned by Thomas and Jackie Carter, a seemingly ordinary farming couple, until they weren't.
They were into some seriously dark stuff.
Paul explained as we drove.
Big into the occult, but they hid it well. Took in lots of folks in need, but those people never made it out. The Carters were serial killers, and by the time the police caught on, they'd already taken their own lives. The farmhouse was a horror show, 10 bodies recovered, but it's believed there were more. Their journals hinted at a ritual that required 13 sacrifices, but they were stopped before they could finish.
We arrived at the farmhouse as the sun began to set, casting long shadows over the dilapidated property. The current owner had given us permission to conduct our investigation, eager to rid himself of the place's dark reputation. The farmhouse looked every bit as eerie as I'd imagined. Weathered wood, broken windows, and an overwhelming sense of dread that hung in the air like a thick fog.
All right, team.
James said, clapping his hands together.
Let's get to work. We need solid evidence for the website. Split up and cover as much ground as possible. Paul, you're with Sophia. Charles, you're with me. We'll keep in touch through the radios.
As a spiritual medium, I could feel the presence of the spirits almost immediately. The air was thick with their emotions: sadness, despair, fear. There are more than just the 10 official victims here, I murmured, my voice barely above a whisper. They're all around us.
Can you communicate with them?
Paul asked, his voice tinged with curiosity. Not directly, I replied. I can only feel what they felt. We set up cameras around the farmhouse and the barn, hoping to capture something, anything, on film. But so far, all we had were a few orbs and some vague, flickering shadows. The voice recorders yielded nothing but static, and the longer we stayed, the more I could sense the frustration building within the team.
We've been at this for an hour,
Paul said, checking his watch.
Let's meet up with James and Charles, see if they've had any better luck.
I tried to radio James, but all I got was static. That's weird, I muttered, fiddling with the dials. They're not responding.
Let's do a quick sweep of the property. They might have lost their radios or something.
We searched the farmhouse and the surrounding area, but James and Charles were nowhere to be found.
Where the hell are they?
Paul muttered, his frustration giving way to worry. Maybe they went back to the van, I suggested, though I wasn't convinced. When we reached the spot where we'd parked, my heart dropped. The van was gone.
What the?
Paul's face twisted in anger.
They ditched us. They wouldn't do that.
He paced back and forth, trying to calm down.
I need my phone,
he said finally.
It's in the barn. Let's get it and figure out what to do next.
As we walked past the house, a sudden sharp pain shot through my head. I stumbled, clutching at the side of the house for support.
You okay?
Paul asked, concern replacing the frustration in his voice. I'll be fine, I managed, my voice strained. Just need a minute.
Stay here,
Paul said firmly.
I'll grab the phone and be right back.
I nodded, closing my eyes against the throbbing pain. When it finally subsided, I opened them and felt the blood drain from my face, The yard was filled with spirits, their ghostly forms drifting towards me, eyes empty, faces twisted in anguish. Panic gripped me, and I screamed for Paul. My scream seemed to draw the spirits closer. They began to close in on me, their movements slow but relentless. I turned and bolted for the barn, heart pounding, breath coming in short, desperate gasps. But when I reached the barn, Paul was nowhere to be found. "Paul," I called out, my voice trembling with fear. But there was no answer. The walls seemed to close in around me, the air thick with a suffocating sense of dread. I could hear the spirits outside, their whispers growing louder, more insistent. I ducked under a table, hiding in the shadows, trying to steady my breathing. My heart was pounding so hard, I thought it might explode. Minutes passed, maybe hours. I had no sense of time, only the overwhelming terror that gripped me. When the whispers finally began to fade, I knew I had to move. I couldn't stay hidden forever. I crept out from under the table, every muscle in my body tensed, ready to bolt at the first sign of danger. As I neared the exit, I saw a figure blocking the doorway. My heart stopped. It was Jackie Carter. She turned slowly, her eyes locking onto mine. I could feel the evil radiating from her, a dark, suffocating force that rooted me to the spot.
You don't remember, do you? The first half of the ritual made it so we would meet again, even after death.
She whispered, her voice a chilling echo.
I've taken care of the other 3. Now we have enough to finish the second half of the ritual.
My mind flooded with images, memories I didn't know I had. I saw myself standing beside Jackie, preparing the ritual, the bodies of the victims laid out before us. My breath hitched, and a slow smile spread across my face. "I remember now," I whispered back, my voice dripping with a sinister calm. "I'll get the bodies ready, dear."
Thank you for listening to this terrifying twist tale. Please support this channel by liking and subscribing.